Hey everybody, welcome to our very first episode of Free Flow Friday on the Governees webcast or podcast here. Thanks for joining me. And what is Free Flow Friday? Well, Free Flow Friday is just where I talk about the government contracting industry in an unscripted way. We talk about rants, chats, news, happenings, just different things that's going on in the government contracting world. And so this is our very first episode. Stay tuned. I'll see you on the inside. So for this first episode of this Free Flow Friday for the Governees webcast here, I'm going to talk about what's going on in the world of government contracting. So I'm just going to go to a few resources that I know out there. Federaltimes.com. This is one place where you can kind of learn about government contracting and not necessarily about contracting itself, but learn about the industry. So we'll just kind of see what's happening in the world of government contracting. Ex-NSA worker accused of trying to sell secrets to Russia, ordered held. Okay, so we have another situation like Edward Snowden happening here. Stricter Buy American content rules for procurement set to take effect. This is actually interesting for many of you who are government contractors. So let's dive a little deeper in here. So to kind of give you a little background for what I know about the Buy American Act. It started back in the first legislation, I think back in 1933. It was created to kind of help protect American manufacturers and when you're selling products, especially to the government, to government agencies itself, the Buy American Act is there to kind of make sure that businesses use parts and goods, components that is made in America. So if we go through here, let's take just a quick look and look at a few snippets here, see what's going on here. So there's a new rule that's going to effect on October 25th, and so today is October 14th, and so today's October 14th. It's going to happen in a few days. If we look at this here, Buy American Act passed, 1933. And so here's the change here. The current rule is that 55% of your components has to be American made. The new rule says that starting October 26, 60% of your components has to be American made. And then it's going to be an incremental increase to 2029, a little bit every year. And by that time, if you are selling manufacturing products and services, it needs to be at 75% if you're selling to government buyers or government agencies. So that's an interesting new proposal that's happening. I'm gonna put the link here. I'll put the link in the chat notes down there if you want to read the article a little bit more. So this is one thing that's happening. Let me go to another place where you can kind of learn about it's just the government industry itself. Let's go into GovExec. It's another place. Let's just see what's happening in the world of government contracting or this industry here. Continue to cite. Here we go. U.S. Postal Service is set to raise prices again. So if you're shipping products, like especially if you're doing direct marketing, that's gonna, pricing will go up. Another feds will pay 8.7% more towards FEHBP premium next year. I have no idea what that is. Let's see. The president's Innovation Fellows Program Turn 10 was next. Exec Daily paying attention to the Hatch Act. OPM authorizes emergency hiring for hurricane response. This is actually interesting content here. Let's look about. We just went through Hurricane Ian. Just went through Florida. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And so we're actually I'm going to be doing a class on disaster relief opportunities coming up in the next week. So if you're actually watching this podcast here, feel free to join us for that event. Since I'm here, if you are interested in going to that event, let me go ahead and pull up the link so that you can see it. Um, let's see here. When is that? It's the 19th. Yeah, so it's happening October 19th. So we're doing a class on discovery, disaster recovery contract opportunities. So if you want to learn more, come check it out here. But coming back to here, where it's talking about OPM authorized emergency hiring for hurricane response. I want to dig a little more into this here to see what this is about. Now, if you come in here, the day is October 11th, but I'm posting this video here on October 13th. So that way it takes me and our team a day or two to kind of prep the video to put it on there. So even though this is Free Flow Friday, is really happening on Wednesday, just so that you know that. So if you see a date and it says October 11th, I'm not necessarily crazy. It's not it's not the 13th. The video is posted, our podcast is posted on the 13th, but free flowing on Wednesday. But the episode here is called Free Flow Friday. Hurricane response. The federal government's HR agency has, first, let me tell you what OPM is, right? OPM, for most of you, OPM is other people's money. Well, in the government space, OPM is not other people's money. In the government market, OPM is the Office of Personnel Management, which is kind of like the HR department for government agencies. So they are agency variety category available to federal workers impacted by recent severe storms. So the Office of Personnel Management last week announced that it is authorizing the emergency hiring of temporary worker federal employees to help respond to appear hurricanes. Okay, so let me see this again. They're authorizing the emergency hiring of temporary federal employees, okay, to help respond, okay. So Hurricane Fiona in Puerto Rico, as well as Hurricane Ian, that over 100 people lost their lives during that storm. A lot of that in Florida. So our hearts to all the families in Florida. So many of the requirements associated with the traditional hiring process do not apply emergency hiring. So here's what this means. If you are a business that you're doing contracting work and you doing FEMA work, you might want to look more into this here, how that impacts your business. Or if you are an individual and you're looking to do work for federal agencies, there's a lot of opportunities. They are hiring project managers. They are hiring people that can go out there and actually do work as it relates to disaster recovery. So good opportunities there. I would say definitely pay attention to that. Let's go to tech, see what's happening in the world of tech here. These pop up here. All right, so tech, Labor Department, UPS team up on ID proofing. ID proofing, a pilot project set to launch in 2023. We'll see the Labor Department and the Postal Service team up to help unemployment insurance applicants verify identities on behalf of participating states. Well, some of you may know that there is there is a big push to improve identity documents itself, whether it's a driver license document or it's a passport. I think this goes into the same world as it relates to that there. So they say that this is going to be tied to unemployment insurance applicants. So if you are looking for unemployment benefits, you're going to have to consider this. So if you are if you're currently unemployed, this is going to be the first thing that's going to impact you here. So pay attention to that there. Facial recognition. Yeah, this is a interesting topic here. Many of us, there's a part of me that just don't want my facial identity floating around out there because once that data, right, if it's in the hand of the right technologists, the right companies, it's fine. But if your facial identity falls into the hands of nefarious actors, it can become a problem. So I'm slow to adopt any facial recognition technology, but GSA is doing a study on demographic equity in remote identity technology. Okay, so there may be some applications in terms of how this will be used to for uh, GSA is the General Service Administration. They handle a lot of the purchasing for the government. So there may be some um, implications in terms of how they use that to control access. GSA has a subsidiary office called PBS, not the Public Broadcasting System, but the Public Building System. Um, Actually, Public Building Service, PBS, Public Building Service, which is an arm of GSA, because they control so many federal buildings. I think this might be tied to facial recognition, entering into facilities and so forth. So we'll see how that works out. Biden adds cyber data supply chain risk to CFIUS. This is a new sub-agency here. Not quite sure what CFIUS. So this is the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. So there's all these sub-agencies, right? So there's one federal. There's hundreds of super federal agency, and then there's thousands of sub agencies. And CFIUS or CFIUS is a sub agency. So they're looking to do some improvement there. Digital divide: tribal communities undercounted, underserved. Absolutely. Part of it is, undercounted has to do with the census, right? When the census do their business census as well as their people census, I think business census is done every 7 years, people census is done every 10 years. The underserved community usually just don't always do their census and do their fill out those forms and so forth. Part of it is so as a result, they're going to be undercounted from that perspective. And if you're undercounted, then there's going to be underserved. Those communities will be underserved. Less resources coming to the communities. So I would always suggest, especially myself, right? I came to the U.S. as a refugee. My ethnic community is the Hmong community, Hmong. As part of the Hmong community, we just don't always, the Hmong is the first generation to have reading and writing. So my parents' generation, 1950s, we finally received, there was a missionary that came to Laos, that lived among our people up in the mountains, the hills, the hill tribes of Laos, learned our language, the Hmong language, and then took that and took the Latin text and gave us our own alphabet. Up until the 1950s, our people, it was just oral history. So take that, 60 years later, 60 something years later, now, that generation that received their alphabet for the first time is starting to learn and, get educated. Well, come to the United States, many of them didn't speak any English. Many of them have never went to school. And so when you're doing a census, they're always going to be undercounted. So this is kind of like an interesting concept. So the Hmong community, I can definitely feel that there's not always they're underserved because they're not necessarily counted in terms of doing the census and so forth. All right. Well, I know I don't want to keep it too long, so I just want to jump on a little bit here, look at a few things. I'll post these links here. Every week I'm going to look at different sites and maybe some of the same sites, but just kind of see what's happening in the world of government contracting or our industry here. So thanks for chiming in on this Free Flow Friday, even though it's happening on Wednesday. I will see you another future episode. Take care. Have fun, everybody. And remember, you are one contract away from your dreams, from your next salesperson that you want to bring on. You're one contract away from the dream home that you want. You're one contract away from any dreams that you want to and any goal that you have. Take care.